Hi, welcome to the Vaguely Anime Podcast. I am one of the hosts this evening, Michael, and I have other Culture Corner host, Sage.
That's me.
And we're going to possibly talk about just bad movies that we've seen.
Yeah. I feel like Cultured Corner has turned into like a bad movie recap.
That or it's just
like I know that's not a smooth title, but you know what I'm saying?
It's mostly just because I would say both of us watch movies, but you watch a lot of stuff randomly, but not consistently.
Yeah.
So
I think that's fair.
Yeah. And I've just either watched or know a lot about random ass bad movies.
That's true. I feel like the difference is you consume a lot of content, good or bad.
Yeah.
On a regular basis. Whereas I feel like I try not to intentionally watch garbage just because I don't like wasting my time, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah, but if you enjoy the garbage.
Yeah, there is garbage that I obviously enjoy, but I don't go in unless something is so laughably bad that I have to see it with my own eyes.
Right.
Things that are like middle of the road bad, I'm just like, why am I going to put myself through it?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, watching bad stuff is much more infrequent.
Gotcha.
Just because I'm not, in part, watching the same volume of content that I think you watch.
Yeah, well, to be fair, my content intake over the last month has been basically zero because of Baldur's Gate.
Because that game you were telling me about.
Yeah. I'm at the end, I think.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't think I'm fairly certain. Like the things that are happening, it's definitely like, hey, you're this is the end. Gathering the allies, like running up while things are exploding, kind of stuff. So, although I will say, if the endings are what they might seem to be, it's kind of a bummer. It kind of it from what I had as choices to me to get me to where I currently am right now. And I've played the game as like a generally good person.
Okay.
Doing
no villain streak type deal.
Yeah. It seemed like no matter what, somebody has to get screwed over.
Oh, rip.
Which I understand, and that's like a real. Like a real thing. Like usually no stories have all completely happy endings.
Right.
But I'm in a fantasy game, and I feel like if I did well enough,
you should get like good across the board.
There should be an option. There should be a chance.
Right.
You know, like hell, even if the chance is like you can do it, but hey, you're probably gonna fail, and then you fail anyway. Like at least I had the option.
Right.
But like, it kind of seems like no matter what, someone gets screwed, and that's a bit of a bummer.
Wait.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I recently watched a bad, I would say middle of the road movie.
Okay.
Like overall, it could have been much, much worse. I feel like the majority of it was just kind of boring.
All right.
But then it had certain aspects that were objectively bad.
All right.
Not most things were good.
Okay.
The movie is called Mind Cage. It came out last year in 2022. And it randomly has John Malkovich in it. And I'm like, why does this movie have this actor?
He's in a lot of random shit.
He is in a lot of random shit. I'm like, I guess he's just like, yeah, whatever, for funsies.
Yeah,
funsies.
He's just like, fuck it, I don't give a fuck.
And it also has Martin Lawrence in it, which is weird because I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen him in a non-comedy. And I feel bad in saying that he should stick to comedy because some of the points where
he's in Bad Boys.
That's true, but isn't he's not like,
I mean, I guess it's like a comedy
action,
but like it's more
but
action.
it's not like a serious drama.
No.
And this is like it's listed as a mystery, but it's going for that like thriller detective drama kind of thing.
Yeah, but I mean, like I wouldn't say that he is only he has done semi more serious roles.
Right. I'm not saying he's exclusively done comedy, but I'm saying like I feel like a good portion of his career has been comedy.
Isn't he in Tropic Thunder?
I don't know. I only watched that movie when I was like 10 years old, so I have no memory of it.
Incredible. That movie's so good.
But yeah, so it was weird seeing him because he's like supposed to be this like PTSD stricken like detective who's been like, you know, through the ringer, and he's been he lost his partner who he was, you know, they were partners for 15 years together, and then the partner died, right? And then you're introduced to this like his new partner who's this like young woman who I think
spiritual successor to Bad Boys. Will Smith died.
She's been on the force I think for like 5 years or something. And so it's that whole like, oh, I'm getting a new partner vibe kind of thing. And because I'm like grizzled and like the wiser of the two, I have to treat my new partner like shit kind of a thing. And I feel like what this movie was trying to do was take elements of Seven and Silence of the Lambs.
Right.
In its broad stroke of like plot and plot devices, but it didn't do either of those kinds of things nearly as well. Which I did find, because there's so many things where I was like, this is clearly like a 1-to-1
right.
for Seven, or certain scenes was like clearly this is some referencing like Silence of the Lambs, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's about this serial killer who keeps killing women and then posting their like preserved bodies in public spaces. So the first one is in a church, and then the second one I think is on like a train, and then there's one in a boat, and then I think we only see 3. Maybe there's 4, I can't remember. But John Malkovich is a prisoner. He's life in prison, and he's on death row.
Right. And
he's going to get like put in the chair or lethal injection or whatever in 2 weeks. That's the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. And the new female detective is like, oh, well, you know, the original serial killer, because this new one is a copycat with the bodies and blah, blah, blah. We should go talk to him because he can give us insight. And of course, the people on like inside the police are like, no, like we don't need to do that. Like, you know, he's very dangerous and he doesn't talk to police people, blah, blah, blah. She's like, no, I think we should. So of course he's like talking to her and giving her cryptic ass messages.
Right.
And stuff like that. And she's slowly piecing it together, but not really. Okay. And the movie keeps giving these like extremely ham-fisted red herring moments.
Right.
Like, so she has this boyfriend or husband named Dale, who is, I think, a preacher.
Good old Dale.
Who I think is a preacher. And she's not religious. So there's like tension there. But the tension never goes anywhere and it's never explained. And then Dale is like
it's
random.
Just permanent life tension.
Yeah, but Dale then has one scene where he's really weird and creepy and ominous. Never explained. I don't even think we see Dale again after that one scene. Dale is just gone.
She divorced him.
I don't know. Dale gone.
Actually, the real secret is that she's the killer and she killed him.
Could you imagine? But so I kept being like, okay, here's like the plausible people for it to be, right? And then we get to the end of the movie and you see that it's Martin Lawrence's character. And I was like, okay, I could see how that makes sense, right? Like they kind of have like breadcrumbs throughout that it could possibly be him. But then I was like, even though that doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense.
Right.
Because wouldn't you want to steer like away from yourself type deal? But anyway, so we find out it's his character. But no, that's not the twist. The actual twist, is that John Malkovich, in his youth, gained a power to take over someone's mind from drawing a portrait of them and thinking about it really hard. I am not joking.
Okay.
This is almost verbatim what they say in the movie. So he, every single night, lays with a portrait of Martin Lawrence in his hands to take over his body to do these extremely elaborate corpse displays.
And they can prove that how?
They can't.
So nobody
But-
would believe it.
Hold, please. Hold, please. So this is how it's explained, right? So, because at first the female detective is like, wait a fucking second. Like, how are you the one doing all this shit? Like, where do you have the time? And then it starts explaining that, no. I'm just like Martin Lawrence's body is just a vessel for John Malkovich to do this.
Like he's not a real person?
No, he is a real person,
Oh.
but he's not in control of his own body.
Okay.
So you get this explanation, and then I think he either shoots himself or she shoots him, and he dies. But then it's never explained as to like what the follow-up on that was. Like they say, I don't know if she was just like, yeah, it was him all along, even though there was no physical evidence. You know what I mean? Or she tried to go with this crazy elaborate story. And then the ending scene of the movie is her. Oh no, Dale does come back. He's at the end scene. Dale is there.
Okay.
So it's her and Dale and some other random people we've never met before at a funeral. And at first I thought they were at Martin Lawrence's funeral, which I was like, that's kind of weird because if you're saying he's the serial killer, why is he getting this nice proper funeral, right? But no.
Nobody else found out.
I have no clue because they literally never tell you. But apparently the funeral is for her dad, who we have literally never seen before.
Okay.
They just, in like 2 very quick scenes, mention that she should see her father before he dies, even though they have like a strange relationship or whatever.
Right.
And then at this funeral scene, Dale is just like, I'm so glad you decided to see your dad before he passed. And I'm like, this is such a weird way to like give me this information.
Right.
Like, it's so clunky. And then she sees this guy sitting on a bench who works at the prison that John Malkovich is in. And she's like, oh, give me 1 second. So the guy who works there is being controlled by John Malkovich.
Okay.
And so they're sitting and talking. And she's like, oh, how come, you drew the portrait of this prison guard to take over his mind when you could just, free yourself, right? And he's like, no, that's not the point. The point is that, like, nobody knows, right? So he can move, like, unambiguously around and do
Right.
what he wants to do, and nobody knows it's him. And she's like, oh, what did you draw that portrait of him with? Was it a charcoal pencil? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, it seemed like a normal pencil, right? No, because he has this like habit of chewing, like biting the ends of pencils, but like down to fucking nubs. So she poisoned the tip of the end of the pencil, knowing he would bite into it, to poison him.
Okay.
And I'm just like, this might be the most ridiculous shit I have ever seen in my life.
So he's dead.
He's dead. Because she stole, like, one of the way I guess he was.
So so Martin Lawrence dies. Even
Yeah.
though you could have just killed the guy and saved Martin Lawrence.
Well, the guy was in prison. He wasn't physically there.
Right. But like,
I don't know why. I don't know why Martin Lawrence had to die. It was really weird.
it's a horror movie. People of color are never safe.
I guess, but like, nothing was particularly scary. And like, from the beginning, I felt like I guess in terms of there being like a twist, yeah, there was definitely a twist. Because how am I meant to guess
that he has
that he
powers.
can like astral project his mind into other people.
Right, in a movie that's never given you the reason to think there was abilities.
Everything else in this movie is meant to be as like normal and human as the real world.
Right.
So and that's throughout the entire movie. So I'm expecting that those are the rules of this movie.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, and it's so funny too, because like earlier in the movie they mentioned that like John Malkovich as a kid had like a head injury, and that changed him.
It made him a murderer.
But I'm like, am I supposed to just then assume from this childhood head injury, before it's explained, that he would just gain powers?
Yeah, well, hey, Goku had a childhood head injury, and it made him a good person.
But you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, I don't understand how you thought this was the move. I would have rathered it been Dale or the
Right.
girl, like, you know, like something stupid.
Yeah. In the same kind of vein, the movie I kind of mentioned to you earlier, of The Cell, is also just like there's no. So The Cell.
The Cell.
So the movie is like, hey, we have set up like this group of scientists or whatever have figured out a way to
2000?
Yeah. Okay. To go into the minds of coma patients.
Okay.
And like the idea is to wake them up. Use the machine to wake them up. Go into their consciousness and be like, hey, you, consciousness version of this person, get the fuck up. Wake up.
Time to wake up, buddy.
Stop being lazy. You've been in a fucking bed for 20 years. Do something with your life.
LOL. Is Jennifer Lawrence in this? Not, what's her name? Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, she sure is. She's the main character.
That's so funny.
Vincent D'Onofrio, Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn.
So they make this machine. That's what they're doing. And the main character, played by
Jennifer Lopez.
yeah, Jennifer Lopez. I almost said Lawrence. Is a child psychologist who is hired to help them with this.
Okay.
So she's the one that like goes in and like tries to wake up these people. And at the same time, there's a serial killer with like a weird mental thing. I think he has schizophrenia. I forget. He has a weird mental faculties. You know, he's like so they are trying to. Sorry, hold on. I'm mixing things up. Actually, the reason they made this was because the person funding it has a kid that has like a weird version of schizophrenia, and they're trying to help him. So they're used to going into like messed up mind psyches.
Okay.
At the same time,
But they're all coma patients?
yeah. At the same time, there is a serial killer who has been caught, but their most recent victim is they can't find them.
Okay.
So they're like, we need to find out how to do this, but the serial killer is in like a permanent coma after the interaction with the police.
Okay.
So they're like, fuck, we're screwed. And luckily, the group that made this machine, because they're not succeeding with helping the schizophrenia kid, is about to get their funding pulled by the dad. And then the police show up and are like, we need your help. We need you to go in this mind of this fucking serial killer and find out where the
body is.
where the victim is, so we can save them before they die.
Oh, so they're still alive. Okay.
Yeah. So the like every victim I think has been like a period of time where they could have saved them, but they've never been able to figure it out or whatever.
Okay, like a taunt thing.
Yeah. So they're like, you need to figure it out before she dies, and it keeps like cutting back and forth to like the person who I believe is a woman, and they are just in a glass box that is slowly filling with water. And so they are like, hey, go into this fucking dude's mind, find out where the person's like at. And it's just like, it's trying to be so deep and like artsy and dramatic and the most fucking nuanced thing you've ever seen in your life. And it's just not, because it's trying so hard to be. So like she goes into his mind and there's like dolls of all of his victims everywhere, and like it's all fucking artsed up and whatnot. And but like his mind's like a fucking labyrinth of like random shit. And she keeps finding like a kid version of him, and she's like, this kid, you know, the kid version of him is like pure. He'll be able to help me get around the mind. And so like you're constantly seeing like his life and how things ended up wherever they are and whatnot. Like, and just everything is artsed up. Like the image that you showed of those people is just
you
everybody.
saying artsed up
Yeah.
is very funny to me. Like, I know what you mean, but artsed up is just a funny phrase.
But it's right. I feel like it works.
I understand what you're saying. Artsed up.
Yeah. And
Do you mean artsy, by the way? Is that the word you're going for?
I meant artsy, but I wanted to change the word.
Okay, that's fair.
So I went with artsed up.
Okay. Artsed up.
Sue me. No, actually, trademark. You
Trademark
can't sue me.
artsed up.
Yeah. And like everybody's wearing these fucking stupidly elaborate costumes.
Yeah, I just looked at some of the pictures.
Yeah, and every background and foreground is just fucking weird. And then there's like the other things where it's like where like they show you this and you could just imagine on the screen being like ask me what it means. And that's a joke from Nostalgia Critic. I won't take credit for that. But it's true. Mm-hmm. Like it's just like these scenes are here for nothing else than for the director to fucking stroke his own ego.
Right.
About how meaningful and deep this is.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a scene where there's a horse just chilling. And then a bunch of glass like panes, I guess, drop down onto it. And then they all separate. And so then it's just the horse with all of the innards still beating and living, but separated apart so you can see all of it.
Ugh.
And like, it's not even like it's gruesome.
Okay.
Like it's not like the glass thing goes into it and like blood splatters everywhere. Like everything's just still pristine.
Okay.
So like, it's just like, that's the whole movie. You know, where it's like this
like
exists for no
deep?
reason. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But like trying to be real deep.
Right. No. But I feel like fake deep is trying to be real deep. You know what I'm saying?
Like I said, it is trying to be the deepest, artsiest thing it can be, and not at all succeeding at any level on any of it. And the Jennifer Lopez is like getting closer with the kid version and like is becoming really sympathetic and trying to like solve this kid. She's trying to fix the kid.
Yeah,
she's
it's
trying
a
to
little
fix
late.
him, you know?
Right.
So
is she in the...
She can fix him, you know? She could do it. She can.
Is she in the serial killer's mind the whole movie?
I think so.
Like, when she first goes in, like, she's not coming in and out kind of a thing. I mean, like, giving updates.
I don't think so. I think they could talk to her.
So she's still conscious.
No. I think they can, like, reach in and talk to her, and she can talk to them. Because of,
I
like,
thought they
the
had to be
suits
in
they're
a
wearing
coma.
or some shit. No. The people that they are trying to help are in comas.
They don't need to be in a coma,
No.
though.
They're
They
just
just happen to be coma
It's
patients.
like the Matrix. Like, but like for the people that aren't in comas.
Okay.
Like they get on this machine and it fucking like or like, I mean, you never played Assassin's Creed.
No.
So like it's like the Matrix. They fucking get on this machine that just like beams them into their head.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
I was picturing that to facilitate the going into the mind, that the prerequisite is that you're in a
This
coma.
isn't Flatliners. They don't have to fucking try to kill themselves to do this.
You have to start off in a coma, or else it doesn't work.
Yeah. Fun fact about Flatliners. I saw the remake of it, the one that had Elliot Page. I think it's the last movie that Elliot Page did before coming out or transitioning. They might have already been. They might have already.
I
came
feel
out.
like I know what you're talking about, but let me just look at it.
Not
real
a good
quick.
movie. But boy, when I remember seeing that movie and still going, yeah, they're hot.
Oh yeah, I know. I never watched
It's a bad
it.
movie. It's not good. It came out during that period of time where I was just seeing everything in theaters.
Yeah, I remember seeing trailers for it, and you know when you can, and you know,
I mostly went to go see it for Elliot Page.
I feel bad whenever I judge movies based off trailers
Mm-hmm.
because
Some of them are fair. That movie, you could look at that trailer and go, "This is going to be bad."
right, but like you know,
That's-
I think a lot of times, especially nowadays, trailers do a really bad job selling movies.
Oh, they sure do.
So I always feel bad judging something based off of a trailer. But I think if a trailer can't even make a bad movie look good, you know what I mean?
But trailers make good movies seem bad.
That's also true. But you know what I'm saying? Like trailers in theory are supposed to.
There's like a whole compilation of great movies, bad trailers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, but in theory, trailers are supposed to make the movie look good,
Right.
get your butt in the seat, like intrigue you, make you want to like see the story through, whatever.
Yeah. You know, Flatliners was always going to be bad. I went to go see it for Elliot Page.
Gotcha.
Because I always found them really hot. So
That's right.
I was like, yeah, they're in this. Sure. And I hadn't seen them in something in like forever. So I was like, oh, I'll go. Why not?
Yeah,
and
why
I'm already
not?
seeing everything else anyway. It wasn't a good movie.
Rip.
But I think it's the last thing they did before either
Is
transition
Nina
or coming
Dobrev in
out.
that movie? I think she is. Hold please. Keep talking about what you're talking about.
So anyway, Flatliners, not great. But if you like Elliot Page, it's still hot.
She is in that movie.
But anyway, no. So they don't have to go into a coma to go into the thing.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure she's not like constantly jumping in and out. I think she might get in and out just because like it's been like a day or whatever, and they're like, hey, you got to take a break.
We need
or whatever.
updates.
But I think for the most part, it's like she's in it, and then it's cutting out to people trying to figure out what's going on. kind of
Right.
thing.
The location of
Yeah.
the last victim.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen this movie. Mostly the only things that stick with you are not the story, it's just the visuals. Because the visuals are nice, but they are nice in a way that is absolutely trying to be overly dramatic and meaningful without it being that. But like at least the visuals stick to you.
Right.
So like because they're so striking.
Yeah.
So I mean that's something I guess.
I feel like Mind Cage was like that, where the visuals of like the displayed corpses, because like, oh, by the way, the serial killer was called The Artist, right?
Right. Is this one having a
Because he would display his victims in like really ornate and like elaborate kind of costumes and things and accessories. And so when they have the copycat, they think it's a copycat because it's a lot of similar references to periods of art and references to certain, you know, like religious imagery and things like that. So they're like, oh, so it's a copycat, but it's a really good copycat. You know what I mean? The story of Mind Cage is really not that good. And like I said, the ending is just completely fucking bonkers. Like, just so off the rails from what the movie was setting up. But the visuals of the corpses on display are really good. Like, whoever did the costume design and, like, the concept art, I don't know why they felt they needed to go so hard for this movie. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think this movie warranted it. But I'm not complaining. Like, I think it definitely boosts up the quality of the movie with just how nice and I think well thought out the visuals were, but only for the corpses. Everything else looked bland and boring, and it has that terrible like blue-gray color filter on top of everything.
Right.
So only the corpses look good.
Well, I guess that works. Okay, so the ending of this movie. It's really stupid. So she is like, all right, I need to save young, innocent child version of this serial killer. This will solve him. This will fix him, and then we can be together. That's not actually what it is, but just making a joke about the.
I understand.
Thing. Yeah.
I understand.
So anyway, so she like is like, I need to save this kid, and everybody, all the colleagues are like, you're a fucking moron.
Right.
That's it's not gonna do anything.
Right.
So she locks them out of the room, activates the machine, but in a reverse, and brings him into her mind to like save the kid. And the kid's like, yeah, this is nice and all, but like, it's not gonna do anything. Right. And then he turns into the older version, and then the older version's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Like, I'm evil. Like, my dad hurt me, so I'm evil. And so, but this time it's in her mind, so she can control it. So she starts like beating the shit out of him, and basically beats him to a fucking bloody pulp, and then impales him with a sword. And then, shocking, it turns out that it's
mind?
Yeah. Shockingly, it turns out that what she's doing to the adult version is also harming the innocent kid version. Who would have thunk? They're the same person.
I was gonna say.
And she's like, "Oh God, what have I done?" And the evil, like the adult version's like, "You remember that story that I told you about me killing something to stop my dad from beating the shit out of it? Well, now it's your turn to do that as a mercy." And she's like, "Okay." So she picks up the young kid version,
and
walks
him
into like in the mental landscape, walks over to like water, and drowns the kid. And so, you know, they die. The evil fucking fucked up dude dies. And
IRL?
Yeah. Any damage you take inside the mind, it hurts you.
Okay.
And so in the aftermath, I'm pretty sure they figure out where the fucking person is. They get them out. And Jennifer Lopez has now gotten approval to do this for the kid with schizophrenia, to bring him into her mind to like solve his problems, because going into their minds doesn't work, but her mind's a paradise because she's perfect. So she can help people. So the movie ends with like her looking like, I believe, like a fucking goddess, like white gown, like fucking giant ass crown and shit, like in glowing background, inviting schizophrenia kid into her mind to like fix him.
Oh, I wish the ending was like her turning into a serial killer.
Yeah, he walks into the mine and just stabs him.
I'll solve your problems, kid.
They'll never know. I mean, they will.
I was gonna say, I think they would figure that out pretty quick.
Yeah.
But
so, yeah, that's that movie.
Gotcha.
And it is totally worth watching. It is horrendous. But like, the visuals are nice.
I guess that's fair.
So.
I mean, sometimes I will watch movies like strictly because, even if it's like stupid, if it looks nice, I feel like looking nice actually helps to get through dog shit.
Well, it's like anime too.
Yeah.
If it looks nice, you can watch pretty bad anime.
Like anime that is bad and looks bad at the same time, I feel like is a way bigger.
Yeah, like Welcome to the NHK.
Hey. I am
Looks
a
bad,
welcome to the
is
NHK defender.
Yeah, you shouldn't be.
I will die on this hill.
You shouldn't.
It does not look great, but I can't fault it because it was the early 2000s.
Nah, it doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
Cowboy Bebop was in the 90s.
Okay, but Cowboy Bebop is the
I know.
exception, not the rule.
But it's also a bad story, so it doesn't matter.
I
It's boring as fuck.
I liked Welcome to the NHK. Everybody else
because
is
you're
just a
boring.
hater. I mean, I am boring.
It's just so uninteresting and
I love it.
bland and boring and blah.
I liked it.
Ugh. Which.
But yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, sorry. I was gonna say, yeah, like visuals, I think really help to, especially like, because TV and film is such a visual heavy medium.
Right.
If it looks terrible,
Like all.
no matter how good the story is, a part of it will never be as good as it could be. Does that make sense?
Yeah. My statement was going to be half incorrect. I was going to say like all Zack Snyder films, but they don't look bad. The coloring makes them look bad.
Zack Snyder, he does like a lot.
Everything's grayscale.
I was gonna say he does like a lot of like gray, muted kind of tones,
Like,
which I don't.
it doesn't look bad cinematography wise. It looks bad because the color saps everything out of it.
Which I don't understand why, because let's say in terms of like Star Wars or like superhero movies, like DC movies where that he's done, I just
He's
don't.
never done Star Wars.
Who did Last Jedi?
Ryan Johnson.
Ryan Johnson. Why do I think it was Zack
Those
Snyder?
two are nothing
Sorry.
like each other.
Sorry. In my brain, for some reason, I thought it was Zack Snyder. Anyway,
That would have been a wildly different movie. If it
right.
was Zack Snyder.
Anyway, but yeah. So for like DC movies, I just don't understand why.
Like, you ever see 300?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's done that.
Right.
Watchmen.
Yes. I just don't understand with things like that. He chooses to go for this almost grayscale color palette
It's just like
when
his thing.
superheroes
They're supposed to be very colorful.
and comics are so vibrant because everything when in a comic you want things to leap off the page.
Which reminds me of The Marvels, the new movie that's coming out. Mm-hmm. In the trailers, they show off Captain Marvel's new suit or whatever.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen it.
I feel like I saw a trailer, but I don't like super remember it.
If you want to pull it up real
I'll
quick.
pull it up on my phone.
Just
You talk.
because it's one of those things where like it's a fine looking suit,
Right.
but it's just muted colors.
This
It's
is
muted reds and
Brie Larson's
yeah.
one. Okay.
It's like muted red, blue, and gold, and maybe there's a reason for it in the story. Who fucking knows? But just make it brighter, and it would look great. Like,
Which is funny because they had her suit brighter.
yeah, in every other version, her suit's been bright, and like it's like with Deadpool, like when they showed off the new costume, and everyone was like, "This is fucking perfect," because they went from already a good costume to just making it very red, and everyone's
Right.
like, "Fuck yes."
But I think that's the thing with comics. Like, there's no need to do this.
It was why no one.
It's more realistic and serious because I think you can have
Like 90s or 2000s X-Men.
Yeah, like you can make them look however you want them to look if the story can carry the weight of those characters.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think they need to look like First Class, right? Just because you mentioned X-Men, they're wearing the blue and yellow onesies essentially, and they look silly.
But it's great.
First Class is such a good movie with such good characters that you're not thinking that they look ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas in X-Men 1 through 3, where they have like the black with the like piping of the each color coded, right? Mm-hmm. I'm like, why are y'all wearing fucking leather suit, like fucking leather bodysuits?
Where Kitty Pryde has a black leather with the pink lining,
Yeah.
and you're like, all right.
I was like, what is going on? You know, it just doesn't look, it doesn't make sense. But also, why are they all in black?
Yeah.
Like, you lose any personality.
It's the 2000s. Everything has to be edgy and leather. So do you see the?
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. I'm just letting it play just so I can get quick visuals here.
I think I'm just gonna look up an image of it. But yeah, it's just muted. Like if it was just brighter.
Maybe they did that because Kamala's is super vibrant.
But
And-
they should all just be vibrant.
I mean, you're right.
Also, my God, I'm not gonna get started on her power still being the fucking stupidest thing on the planet. But
Yeah, and I think it looks like
they're so
What's her name? Marie Rambeau? I feel like Marie is not right.
No, it's not. But now that you've said it,
I know. I'm so sorry. I know her name is not Marie. I feel terrible that I'm like this.
now that you've said it, I can't think.
Now
of what
you
it
can't
is.
think of any other name but Marie, and I know that's incorrect. I apologize for being the person that does this. I also okay. So here it is. So they have not Marie. Her suit is a high contrast black and white suit, which I actually really like. Monica. I knew it was something with an M. Thank you. So you have Monica's suit, black and white. I actually like how her suit looks. I kind of wish she also got like the giant star chest piece.
Right.
Because she just got kind of like a little like tulip moment thing here, which is fine. But and then you have Brie Larson, who has the almost burgundy red and navy with the more muted gold star.
Like everyone else is so vibrant except her.
And actually, okay, so I was looking at it like this, right? It's weird because even with Monica, the white is so bright.
Right.
It really pops. And then she almost looks like she's photoshopped into the frame.
Yeah.
Doesn't it seem like that? Because Kamala's, she has the super bright, almost white gold armor patch thing, the super super bright blue, and then red accents.
That's why I'm hoping like maybe this is just like it's not actually her new suit and it's just something she's wearing for some specific like mission or whatever.
Maybe
I'm hoping,
because let me just pull up her OG suit because I don't know why they would change it. Miss Marvel.
I mean, like even in the like promo things, they have her in like this one,
Which is closer to what she wore in the first movie.
Yeah.
But if you see it in the first movie, you see how that gold really stands out. And it's not like she's wearing neon color scheme.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not quite as dark. And you know what's the difference, I think? If you pull up the 23 images, I think the difference is she's wearing more blue in the first one.
Right.
And the blue is not quite so dark. It's closer. I think this is like more like Captain America kind of blue. And the red, while it's not all one tone either. Like look at the gloves and the belt is a brighter red.
Yeah.
So it kind of offsets it. And she has the super, super bright gold accents throughout. Whereas even in the newer one, the giant, too big in my opinion, star.
Well, it is a comic. It's it's one of the comic costumes. It was like the original comic costume.
Right. I just think in terms of modern styling, because that's obviously what they're going for.
Right.
It's too large.
Yeah. I don't know.
He's not as bright gold.
Yeah. I don't have very high hopes for that movie. Though.
I'm gonna be honest. I have no expectations, so when I watch it, I don't feel like I can be disappointed.
For the most part, nowadays,
does that make sense?
Like now, I just go into every movie like, hey, just entertain me.
Yeah.
I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
That's the bar. Not a very high bar. A lot of things I can find fun, which like is why a lot of the recent movies, even though a lot of people think they're really bad, I've still like given them like 4s out of 5 because like I'd be like, I could rewatch this. It's fun enough. Like it's like, so that's why I'm like I need to maybe rework my like internal justification.
How you like
just
view things.
Like Thor, Love and Thunder, I don't like a lot of what goes on, but it's still like I could watch it and be like, this is a fun movie.
I watched Thor Love and Thunder and I feel like I don't need to watch it again. Whereas when I watch Quantumanium, I feel like I could watch Quantumanium again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas after I watched Thor Love and Thunder,
people really hate Quantumanium.
I know. Why?
I don't know. I thought it was fun.
I've seen a lot of like hate, especially when it first came out, people like hating on it. And I'm just like, it's just a fun movie.
Yeah.
You know, I
I
think
had fun with it.
I think coming in this is still phase 4, yes?
No, we're in phase 5.
We started phase 5 now?
Ant-Man Quantumania was the last movie
For
in
phase
phase
4.
4, I think.
Okay, cuz
Or it was the start of phase 5, one of those two.
Okay, so either right on that edge of phase 4 entering phase 5. I think once you have something like the massive scale story that was Infinity War into Endgame, I think it's okay to have this much smaller scale story in Quantumanium, right? And I don't know what people were upset about, because it was just a fun movie. I thought the way they had the shrinking technology was fun, and the use of it. And what's the daughter's name? Katie?
Mm-hmm.
Katie, although
Cassie,
thank you. How come they recast her from Endgame? Just because?
Yeah, I think it's just because.
Oh, yeah, but the recast, I thought the girl that they had now, I thought she was really good in the role.
I do quite like. Okay, it's the start of phase 5.
Quantumanium?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I just felt like overall it was a really fun movie. It was super, like, visually appealing.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on. I thought they did a good job overall.
Also, the new girl, Catherine Newton, I quite like her. She's in Supernatural.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's. I forget. Have you watched any of Supernatural?
Nope.
Okay, so she's like
Supernatural's still going?
No.
Oh my god.
She's it ended last year, 2 years ago. One of those two.
It just ended?
Yeah.
How long was it on air for?
4
Like
years ago?
20 years?
Something like that. Yeah. It had 15 seasons. But she was like not a reoccurring character, but showed up every now and then, kind of character. I'm looking it up.
Hold the fucking door.
Supernatural ended in 2020.
What? I feel like Supernatural has been on
And nobody liked the ending.
the entire time I have been alive on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
This show has been on.
Yeah, nobody liked the ending.
Was it the same guys the
Yep.
whole time?
Yeah.
What? It started in
in
2005.
So it went on for 15 years.
That's too
A season a
long.
year.
It started when the WB still existed.
Mm-hmm. So do you want to hear about the ending and why people didn't like it?
Sure.
Okay, all right.
I have like no attachment or like
So,
connection
all right,
to Supernatural.
So imagine you're watching the show from fucking beginning to end.
You're
right?
watching the show for your entire fucking life.
Yeah. And you watch them go from trying to kill one devil to fighting literal God. God's the final boss.
Okay.
First it's his sister, who's the darkness, because the light and dark.
Okay.
And then they solve that problem. Then God starts getting a fucking like superiority complex. And so they're like, all right, we got to deal with you. And then they're like, they have like a new, like another person that can replace him, basically. Not important for why this is a bad ending. So anyway, they finally win. They defeat God. They had the person that could replace him. They take over. The person's good. They basically like helped like raise the kid. They like it started as a kid and grew up. So it started like because it's a special thing. They grew up fast. So they helped that. So they know that that's going to be a good person that's going to run the universe, whatever.
So the kid is becoming God?
Is God now.
They
succeed.
Okay.
He is God.
Okay.
He takes over as God. And so like they're like, hey, let's go on like a regular ass fucking hunt. Let's go fight some vampires. And while fighting the vampires, one of them like shoves You don't know the brothers' names, do you?
One is Dean.
Yeah, they shoves Dean.
Which one's Dean? The tall one with long hair?
No, that's Sam.
Okay. So Dean's short hair.
Yeah. Short. He's still like 6'2".
Short compared to Sam.
Yeah. He gets like shoved by one of the vampires. They're in a barn, and he gets pushed into a post that has a nail in it, and it impales him. And Sam kills that vampire, runs over, is like, "Don't worry, we can figure it out. We can figure it out." And he's like, "Nah, man, like it's over.
It's been 15 years.
Yeah,
just let me
he's
go."
like, it's like, all right, it's over. It's fine. Like, go on without me. Go live a life. Like, whatever. And so he just dies, and then it goes to him in heaven, and like
Dean.
Yeah, and he's just like driving his car around heaven, like, because the new version of heaven, like, there's no walls, so everybody gets to before heaven was like you live in your own paradise. You can't interact with other people. Like, but if
you're by yourself.
If your paradise was with, say, like one of the characters, Bobby, his paradise was living a memory of him, Sam, and Dean. So
it's the three of them.
But like, it's not actually them.
I understand.
But yeah, but like, he couldn't like actually be like, I want to go see my friend or my ex-wife or whatever.
Right.
You know, like you're there.
That sounds like hell.
So, new version of heaven, all the walls were torn down. Like, now it's basically like everyone can go and
you can interact.
Yeah. So Dean gets in his car, drives through heaven, and as he's driving, it's like flashing back to Sam living his life, getting married, having a kid, blah blah blah.
And then Dean's like, "Hey Sam, I've been waiting a long time."
Basically, because Sam dies, which, by the way, in really really awful old, like, aged up makeup. Sam then dies. They like greet each other, and then they just go off and drive.
I said that as a joke.
Basically, is what happens, and then they like drive off into the sunset or whatever of heaven, and everybody was like, "This fucking sucks. Why does Dean just get screwed over? Like, with 15 years, and it's just like, anyway, fuck you, you're dead." Like, and I get it. I get the point behind it, that he dies to something so inconsequential as vampires that they have hunted 100 times over the entire show. Like, I get the point behind it. But it just feels like you're undercutting everything, and it just feels like you're just.
But it feels
over.
Okay. So as somebody who has obviously no attachment to these characters or this story,
right?
From what you've described, it feels stupid that he dies in this like low-level mission after they went up against capital G God,
right? Like,
wouldn't it make more sense to kill him off in that fight?
But like, I get, like, as like in a writing standpoint, I could understand them being like, no, they succeed. And then, of course, the thing that kills him is just something that they've done 100 times.
It's something stupid.
Yeah. Like, I get it, but it's stupid. Like, realistically, yeah, you could have also had him die during the fight with God, but like, I feel like that also would be kind of eh. Like, you just kind of, after all this time, want them to just fucking live, you know? Like, you've been watching them for 15 years. At this point, like, they've defeated God, helped the world. They both should be able to fucking walk off into the sunset.
So the two guys, Sam and Dean, they've been played by the same guys the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's really impressive.
Every single person, though, that was like stayed as a main character was that. Even their mom and dad, like, the mom hadn't shown up since the first episode. And they wanted to bring her character back for, like, you know, an arc for whatever, and she came back and did it. Jeffrey Dean Morgan's their dad. He would show up every now and then when they wanted his character to show up.
That's I like that a lot. Like, I remember
they didn't, as far as I'm aware, they never recasted anybody except for characters where them being recasts makes sense because it'd be like a demon possessing a new host.
Okay.
So like they every now and then the demon would show up as somebody else. But as far as I'm aware, they've never like recasted a major character.
Wow. That's honestly impressive. 15 years?
Yeah.
That's like, because what's the one show that's going on forever? Grey's Anatomy?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like they must have had like 1 million cast members.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Or What's the one show, CSI or
There's a bunch of them. Which one?
what's the one like SVU?
Okay.
No, Law and Order. That's the
Okay.
word. Oh my God, I got there. Like Law and Order, which has been on forever.
Yeah.
Since television was invented. That's what it feels like.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
But Law and Order, like I feel like they must have had like 1,000,001 people on that show.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that any major character has not been recast
But
that I can think of.
So you'd never watched the Vampire Diaries, right?
No.
Okay, so the Vampire Diaries was also on the CW. And I think it had 8 or 7 seasons. But the main lead character, played by Nina Dobrev, she didn't want to come back after season 6. And they had 2 more seasons to film.
Okay.
So they were like, how do we write her out of the show, but leave it ambiguous enough that if she decides she wants to come back, we can get her back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the way they decided to write her in the show was to put her in a magical coma
Mm-hmm.
that couldn't be undone because there's one character named Bonnie who's a witch that Bonnie can't undo in any way, no matter what she tries. There's no loopholes, okay?
Right.
The only way that Elena / Nina Dobrev will come out of her magical coma is when Bonnie dies. When
Okay.
I tell you, the last episode of this show, Elena wakes up from the coma and Bonnie is still alive. And Elena goes, wow, how did you do it? And this is verbatim. I think I finally figured out this witch thing. That's the entire explanation
Nice.
for how she gets her out of the coma.
Nice.
When it was explicitly told, there is no loophole. You either die and she comes out of it, or you stay alive and she's asleep.
Right. Sure.
I'm like, what the actual fuck?
Yeah. And I looked it up. There was 3 characters listed as being recast, of which 2 of them were demons and their bodies were just said to be destroyed. So, and one of them was a side character's mother that shows up like 3 times.
Who was that guy in the trench coat?
That's Misha, not Collins. Yeah, wait, Misha Collins? Fuck. But that's Castiel.
I just remember on like the Tumblr heyday, there would be a lot of like
Yeah, it is
supernatural
Misha
stuff.
Collins. Yeah.
And I didn't obviously watch Supernatural, but there would always be stuff, and it was always that guy in the trench coat.
Yeah. They really wanted him and Dean to be gay for each other.
I see.
And they like kind of said that they were.
They the show or they the
fans. And they like kind of said that they were, but then like kind of didn't really commit. I don't know. I missed a lot of the last season. I'm gonna watch it at some point, but from what I heard was that people were like freaking out that they did do it, but then they like didn't.
So they didn't like commit.
I guess. I'm not super certain. But it also I also saw that people were reading into it more than there actually was, so I'm not really sure.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so every major character stayed the same.
Wow.
No
Honestly,
matter-
that is impressive. For 15 years for one show, like, damn.
Yeah.
And the fact that they were on air for that long, too.
Yeah, like, even characters where, like, they could have used a different body, they,
Right.
like, didn't. Like, the person that plays Lucifer, like, he gets fucking destroyed, like, so many times, and they just keep asking the same dude to come back anytime he needs to show up.
That's funny.
Like, so, and, like, but, yeah, so it's always been the same people. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, we can end it there, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for watching this week's episode of the Vaguely Anime Podcast. You have 2 weeks to watch Anohana, and hopefully find out if Kat is just forever wrong or not.
If she has a soul or not.
Yeah, if she has good taste or doesn't. And so don't forget to check out her at Kat Moonstar on Twitch. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, leave a review, follow. Check us out every Monday. I don't know where I was going with that. Didn't mean to say check us out, but hey, check us out every Monday. And we will see you guys next week for whatever we talk about.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.